Yeah, I'm living my best life. Made a couple M's, you know. Said I'm living my best life. Said I'm living my best life.
Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel, Random Opinions, Reaction, and Reviews. If you don't know who I am by now, you gotta get with the program. Today I'm coming to do the review on the episode that aired yesterday on General Hospital. Yesterday's date was July 16th, my baby's birthday. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get into it. We have scenes that open up between Lulu and Maxie. And Maxie is telling Lulu that Dante shot Peter. And from what Maxie is saying, Dante he could have shot anybody. He didn't just target Peter because he has some type of vendetta for losing Nathan. No, he's far gone. He is just, his PTSD is that bad. He thinks that everybody is out to get him. It's just really bad. He just doesn't recognize people, and he's a danger to his family, in other words. So Lulu was like, hold on, what were you doing in Dante's compound? Like, why were you there? And Maxie tries to tell her, look, I tried to, convince him to come home to his family. And Lulu immediately was mad at Maxie. You went on your own accord and you did this without consulting with anybody. You overstepped your boundaries, and because you've done that, Dante is worse than he ever was. Is what she's thinking in her head and what she's saying out loud to Maxie. And she pretty much blames Maxie and says, you know what? Any progress Dante could have made has been pretty much backstepped because of Maxie, is what she's saying. So she is going in on Maxie, and Maxie's already in tears because Peter got shot. So she just feels that much worse because Lulu's life is in shambles and the plan didn't work out how she wanted it to work out. Then we have Finn talking to Peter, and Finn did a checkup on Peter, and Peter is doing fine. The bullet went right through his arm. He doesn't need surgery. He's gonna heal. It's a good prognosis. And Finn is like, yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and call your mother and make sure that she knows that you're okay. And Peter immediately stops him and is like, no, you're not gonna call Anna. I don't want her feeling like she has to rush back from wherever she's at and play mother to me. We've made progress. I just don't want to have that lovey-dovey, ooh, mother-son moment. Like, just let it be what it is. She doesn't have to know. And Finn is not liking that idea. He's like, you know what? That's your mother. She needs to know what's going on with you. And Peter's like, you know what? You are bound by HIPAA not to tell anything. Stalemate. He couldn't do nothing. And he's like, this is going to be bad if we keep this secret. And Peter is like, you know what? It's not your choice. It's not your choice. It's my choice. You cannot tell her, and you're bound by HIPAA. You can't say anything. So Finn was not liking that, and he leaves out. And in the process of him leaving out, he looks over and he sees Lulu cut into Maxie. So he runs interference, and he lets Lulu know that Peter is okay, that she can go in and see him. So Lulu goes in to talk to Peter. And Peter's basically telling her, look, Maxie meant well. I'm okay. There's no need to stress. If you want to, you can talk to me about Dante, because I know you're not in a good place right now just finding out that your husband hasn't made any progress. Instead, he's no better than he was when he got sent away. So, and in the process of her talking to Peter, Maxie shows up and she tries to explain, and Lulu was not hearing it. She was not hearing it. She just leaves. And Maxie is like, she's just deeply apologetic. And her and Peter talk. Peter's okay. He wants her to know that he's okay. He wants her to know that Lulu will come around. So he's comforting Maxie, and Maxie is in tears, you guys. Then Laura shows up as Lulu is running off. And these scenes were kind of sad too, because we see that Lulu was just using Maxie as a scapegoat. She's mad at the situation. And I would go a step further and say she's even mad at Dante. She's mad that he even left in the first place. If he had never left to go to the WSB, this would have never happened. She still have her husband here to go to musical recitals with Charlotte. He still be at home with the kids. He still be at every sports game that Rocco plays. Her family is just not the same anymore, and she is feeling it. And nothing is the same to her. She doesn't feel herself, you know, and essentially she's lost without her husband. And she just cries on Laura's arms. And I thought these were good scenes too, because Laura was just there for her. And she's like, honey, you're not mad at Maxie. You're mad at what's going on. At least now you have closure. You know that Dante is no better. You know where he was at. Even if they ship him off, she knows where he was at. You know, she knows. She just has closure. She's had her questions that she's had them answered. And Laura just brings that to her attention. And while Laura's talking and comforting Lulu and saying all the right things, Maxie shows back up. And Laura leaves. And Maxie is talking to Lulu and she apologizes to her. And Lulu is like, look, I know it's not your fault. Once again, she's mad at the situation. She's mad that Dante is not with her and her children. You know, but she thanks Maxie for being a good friend, and they hug it out. You know, Maxie is always there for her. I kind of hate when they always have this Maxie Lulu fights. Like, we see that too many times. They're always fighting, but they always make up just as well. And I like their friendship. And you know, GH doesn't have that many people in friendship roles on the show, so it's good to see when people can legit have a scene together and just be friends, you know, like the scene yesterday between Finn and Alexis. You know, those are good scenes, you know, people just being there for each other. Lulu lets her know that she was upset with Maxie because Maxie did something that she couldn't do. She wanted to go and find Dante. She wanted those answers, and she didn't do anything. I mean, she's a mother and she has children to worry about. And right now she is a single mom, even though she's married. She also is upset because she didn't get the answers that she wanted. So I really feel for Lulu, and if they're not going to recast Dante, then they need to bring her a love interest on. They can start off as friends. It doesn't have to go fast. Let it go slow. And it's kind of good and vibrant to have a new character come on and be a love interest to somebody versus them recycling the same relationships over and over again, if you know what I mean. They say I love you. They need each other. Maxie definitely is going to be there for Lulu now because she doesn't have a husband that's there for her currently. So Robert comes into Charlie's and he sees Julian, of course, because it's Julian's bar. They're talking to each other. On the outside, Kim is looking in and she's going to be going into Charlie's, but she's having flashbacks of the mistake that she made with Drew and drugging him. And you can tell she's deeply, deeply remorseful for that. Robert is talking to Julian. And whenever they see each other, you know, Robert's got to always make some snippy remark. Like, Robert is funny. I'm just going to say that because I laughed so hard when he was calling Julian out. He said, at best, you're a thief, and at worst you're a killer that can revert to form. And he basically is saying that he doesn't think Julian is legit, and if he is legit, it's not going to take him no time to get back into that life of crime. And Julian's telling him, look, I am here, I'm legit now. I'm working at this bar, minding my own business, and I'm going to continue to stay legit because I have someone to be legit for. And he sees Kim walk in the door. And then he's like, look, I got to go. I can't be sitting here going back and forth with you. So he goes and he talks to Kim. And Kim lets him know, look, I've been going to therapy. Everything's working out. I see my mistakes, my flaws, and the things that I made. And I want to say I'm sorry to you because I completely overstepped and disregarded you and your feelings. And going to therapy helped her realize that. She is disgusted that she even took it that far with Drew and she disregarded Julian's feelings. And she also sees that it was a complete mistake and she knows that a baby would never replace Oscar. So those were good scenes, just something genuine. And Julian's letting her know he's comforting her. He's letting her know he's going to always be there for her. I thought it was cute that Kim had the little bear, Mr. Bear with her, you know, as a reminder of Oscar. That was cute too. Drew and Curtis are talking, and Curtis wants to know who drugged him. He also wants to know how Oscar's will reading went. And Drew lets him know he doesn't want to revisit that, to let it go. he's just trying to move on and stay ahead of his company and make sure everything's all right. While they're talking, Hayden shows up and she wants to talk the firewall protection. So she's looking for Curtis. And Drew is like, what is she doing here? Because remember, Hayden was Drew's fake wife when he was supposed to be Jason, when we knew him as Jake Doe. And so she's like, look, Jax hired me as CFO of Crimson. I'm going to be over that and we don't have to see each other. And Drew is like, look, you have an ulterior motive. And so Curtis leaves and he goes to tell Jax. Meanwhile, in those scenes, Jax is talking to Nina and he starts to ask her questions about Valentine. And Nina has already been filled down on what Valentine chose to tell her about Jax. So she knows that Jax already knows everything about Valentine. So she tells him, look, why are you asking me? You already know. And Jax is like, look, he's a Cassadine, and I thought I knew everything about the Cassadines, but he just flies out of the sky and all of a sudden inherits everything. Like, there is something up. Then Curtis shows up and he's like, Jax, just so you know, your new CFO is in Drew's office. You got to run interference. So Jax heads over to the office to run interference. So when he shows up, Drew tries to warn him, like, look, do you know what this girl is capable of? She embezzled a bunch of money from GH. She tried to act like she was my wife. This girl has an ulterior motive. And Jax is like, yes, I'm aware, but I thought this was all in the past. Drew was like, look, if she's going to be working here, just make sure she's handling your finances over at Crimson and she has nothing to do with Aurora Media. So they pretty much decide to keep that line in between so that Hayden doesn't cross over. They leave out of Drew's office and Jax is like, look, if this was all about finances, you'd be out the door. This is so much more. This is about Valentine. So apparently they're stick their heads together about something with Valentine. And I guess it has something to do with the Cassadine fortune. And it makes sense that Hayden has her nose in this because remember, she was like in a relationship with Nicholas. So I don't know. And now it makes sense that Laura was telling Hayden about the fortune. Remember, she was telling how Valentine, he got the fortune and he got the house and Spencer has nothing. And Hayden really cares about Spencer. So I'm guessing like whatever happens, it includes Valentine losing his fortune and Hayden and Jax gaining it. So we'll see what happens. Finn fills Robert in, lets him know that Peter is okay. The bullet just went through his arm. And I'm just thinking like, why is he disclosing anything about Peter to Robert? Because that violates HIPAA too. Robert wants to know when he's going to tell Anna. And Finn's like, look, I can't tell her because of HIPAA. And Peter was clear. He does not want Anna to know. Robert was like, okay, well, he don't want Anna to know. That don't stop me from telling her. And Finn is like, look, if you do that, that's gonna mess up any progress they have in their relationship. And Robert was like, even better. That was funny. But you know, he was just playing. So he's like, no, I hate to say it, but you're right. So he decides not to tell Anna either. This is what I'm thinking is going to pretty much mess up their relationship. This secret is because once Anna finds out that Peter got shot and Finn didn't tell her, you know it's a deal breaker. And Finn is like, look, I want Anna back more than ever, even now. Robert is like, why? And then he starts laughing. He just starts cracking up. And I'll start cracking up right with him. He was like, oh, I forgot ex-fiance back, huh? and Finn is like, how do you know about ex-fiance? And he said, look, I had a dossier drawn up on you when you and Anna started playing house. And Finn is like, oh, makes sense. And he says, look, Hayden's name was popping up off the paper. This woman been into everything. Of course, she would draw a lot of attention. So he already knew about Hayden. So I just thought that was so funny. And he asked Finn, do you think she's here on some funny business? And Finn is like, time will tell. He doesn't really know, but he suspects, yes, because he knows his ex-fiance, you know. And lastly, we have seen with Ava and Sibley on the rooftop of GH. And Ava is feeding this woman all this information. And I'm like, look, she's the psychic. Let her figure this out. Why are you telling her Kiki has a brick on the top of the GH building and you're telling her Kiki did this and that? Let her figure that out. You're feeding her all this information and she's just gonna give it right back to you, because that's what frauds do. Now, I'm not saying Sibley is a fraud, because it kind of seems like she's legit, but I just wanted Ava to shut up and let Sibley do the work. So Sibley explains to her the difference between channeling and being a medium. Channeling, the spirit, I guess, she summons the spirit and the spirit is within her, and you know, they get to communicate. Medium is a third party. So the spirit is talking to her and she's relaying the message. Ava brings the channeling material, which was a necklace I guess she gave Kiki when she was in high school. And she wore it every day. I don't know. I kind of want to know if she actually wore it every day. I would like to go back and look at old scenes of Kiki to see if she had this necklace on. Because, you know, GH just be making up stuff and expecting us not to catch it. She wants Ava to be quiet, close her eyes, and think of happy moments of Kiki. And then apparently she summons Kiki and the channeling begins. And Kiki sees her and she's like, Kiki, is that you? And Kiki is like, yes, mother, it's me. And I'm thinking the whole time, okay, this is so fake. And it was just so weird. Like, I like the psychic scenes, not today, but in the previous, when she started saying, when she was giving out free reads and stuff, that was funny. But today was just weird. Like, does channeling actually happen? Like, I've seen it only in movies. I've never seen it in real life. So it would be cool to know if anybody had a channeling experience or was able to communicate with the dead. I don't know. Let me know. I'm interested to find out. Ava wants to know, how do I know it's Kiki? So Kiki's like, oh, remember when you drugged Griffin and Sasha, my sister Sasha? And that's another thing. I don't know. I just feel like if you're a spirit, you know all things. I guess I'm wrong. How would Kiki not know that Sasha's not her sister? I mean, she's dead now, but I guess I'm wrong. Like, I don't know. It's just weird. So she's like, remember when you drugged Sasha and Griffin? And she gave names. The psychic gave names in that particular moment. And Ava's like, look, that's a matter of public record. I need something more than that. She was like, remember when I tried to slap you in Charlie's pub and you caught my arm and you said you have one more, that was your last time, and I had slapped you a week prior to that? And so Ava's like, oh, it's Kiki, I love you, da 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 da. And Kiki's like, look, save it, mother. I don't ever want to speak to you again. And then Ava's like, but Ryan said that you said you loved me and this da 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 when you were about to die. And Kiki's like, did you really believe him? You gonna believe the man that murdered me? Come on now. And she's like, look, she wants to leave. She's like, never talk to me again. Like, you're the same old, you're never changed. And then she leaves and Sibley comes back, I guess. And Sibley's like, oh, she's gone. And Ava immediately thinks that it's a scam. You think you can scam me out of all this money and I'm just going to let that happen? And Sibley's like, look, I can't help that she's gone. She doesn't want to talk to you anymore. So then she comes back and she's like, oh, I'm feeling something. Kiki's back. She said that she loves her sister. And Ava's like, oh, she loves Avery? And she's like, yes, she loves Avery. I'm like, Ava's giving her all this information. You done gave the girl name. You done gave... And the only thing she could tell you right off the back without you adding any information was she gave Sasha and Griffin's name. Like, I just thought that was weird that she gave Sasha's and Griffin's name, but she couldn't name anybody else. She said she loves her sister. She didn't say Avery's name. Ava said Avery's name, then she said it. So I was thinking, this woman is a fraud. But then she's like, look, Ava, I can't help how these experiences go. I would love for you to reconnect with your daughter and make things right. Later on in the future, we can do that and I won't even charge you. So Ava says, you know what? I want to summon someone else. And I'm thinking that she wants to summon Morgan because she said this place was also important to this person. And remember, Morgan was on the rooftop. He was finna kill himself. Remember that? So I was thinking... she wants to summon Morgan. No, she wants to summon Nicholas. I'm like, dang, that came out of nowhere. And then, you guys, Sibley tries to summon Nicholas, and she's like, there's no spiritual contact with this guy whatsoever. Sibley cannot feel his presence. I'm like, oh my God, Nicholas is coming back. I haven't gotten any source saying that he's coming back, but I just feel like they've been bringing Nicholas' name up too much. Now, either Nicholas, I don't know, I think Nicholas is coming back. Now, if he don't, then it probably has something to do with Hayden and Jax going after the Cassadine fortune. I have no clue, but I guess we'll see in the future. Let me know what you guys think. Do you guys think that Nicholas is coming back? That's the main question I want to know. I can't wait for today's episode. You guys, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you guys later. Bye.
I finally made my mind, know that I can't go back broke. They saying that my time up, my back against the ropes. I hustle, got my grind, know that when I make the most, I